and I'll continue and start our webinar. So just a quick summary of our today's webinar. It will be talking about creating a short-term plan with mining big smile, as you can see on the picture there, and you can see from the video that is on. And today's webinar, as I've mentioned, will be creating a short-term plan with mining blocks. And before we go into, we've been with Datamine for a few years now, almost coming to 10 years with Datamine in Australia and also in South Africa. And I'm a mining engineer. I work in the MineScape or in the blending part of our portfolios. And this is just to give you a quick overview of our portfolios. So we have all the integrated solutions for the entire mining value chain, from exploration, geology, planning, and today's webinar is focusing on planning, looking at the MineScape engineering. And we also have other solutions in the production laboratories and also the sustainability environment, where we look at all the ESG stuff, the sustainability stuff that we need to comply with. So that is just a quick overview of our portfolios and the products that we offer. So overall, we have about 65 products that we have in-house. So if you have anything across your value chain or mining value chain, feel free to reach out to us through our website or through emailing us, and we'll be able to help you with your need. And today's webinar, as I've mentioned, is creating a short-term plan with mining blocks. And what we're going to cover is we're going to create a short-term plan with cards, RAMs, and also the input dumps. And we'll be able to generate a single bench mining blocks for a single bench, be it a truck and shovel bench. And we'll be able to generate a strip mining with multiple benches using different surfaces. And once that is done, I'll be able to show you the run reserve report with different mining intervals that you can define on your own. And we at the end will generate an updated topography. So I will go ahead and move on to the webinar, or to go ahead and do a live demo. So I'll head straight to the software and do a demo directly in the software. All right, so this is currently what I have on my software. So you can clearly see my screen. So I have my topography, and as I've mentioned, you're going to look at the short-term planning. So the short-term planning is designed for the short-term mine planning engineers to do their short-term planning, either a weekly basis or a day-to-day based design. And the whole idea for the short-term planning is to minimize us going through different operations, running different Boolean operations that takes time. So this allows the software to do it for you in just few clicks, in few setups, and you get the results that you are looking for. So currently what I have the topography, as you can see. So there's my topography. I have a limiting boundary here. So in this boundary, I'm going to create a cut in this bench for my truck and shovel. So I'm going to take this overburden and I'm going to create a road or a ramp to access this part, and I'm going to dump that material in here. And that is the first part of the webinar that I will show you quickly. So I'll open the short-term or short-range planning, and I can be able to create different scenarios, and those scenarios will be saved. You can access them for later. All the audit logs will be there. You can track all the steps that you have done. So this will be our first scenario that we have. So I'm just gonna make this scenario editable, and then we select our scenario. So yes. Yes, okay. So I'm gonna look at this scenario, the July scenario. So I'm just gonna go to this July scenario. As I've said, we have our initial topography that we are going to look at, that we're going to use to generate this cut. So the first part that I'm going to look at is to create a cut. And I'm going to create a card. I'm going to create the card from 4AET, and I'm going to project up to the topography surface. And here it gives you the option to set up your cut angle, to set up your relative density, and also your swell factor. So as this material is waste, I set up my relative density or specific gravity of 2.64 as is the waste material, and you can be able to set up the solve factor that you're going to use. And the operations that you can run one operation at a time, depending on how you want to do it, or you can run all these above operations at one go. The whole idea for doing one operation at a time is to, if there's any issues, you can actually be able to spot out where the issue is coming from and quickly go and adjust your boundary and fix it before you move on to the next step. So that is the whole idea. And for this exercise, we are going to run. The first part, we're going to run it one at a time. So I will run this one at a time. So I'm going to say create drip and project. I'll select my boundary. So I'm just going to switch this off, switch off the contours that we created, pick this one. So the software will create the card for you. So it's going to show you how the card will be done. So you can clearly see this is how it's going to do the card from that boundary, and it's going to project up using that angle of 75. And when you go to mesh card polygon, it's going to generate the contours to show you where all the contours are going to be. So it's going to generate it perfectly, and you go to compute the card volume. So that calculates your card volume, and you can see it's calculating the card volume based on the units that were defined when I created the project, and also the total tonnages and the swell volume. So once I'm satisfied with my card, I can go ahead and say commit this to blend. And what that does, it creates an updated topography, taking out that card. So that is what it's currently doing now. It's running that and creating the updated topography for us. So you can see it created the updated topography as contours, but you don't need to worry about that. It also generated a wireframe for you or a mesh for you. So this is the mesh that we have that it has generated. So we can minimize this. So you can see it was able to do the card here that we told the software to do. And then we can see the card clearly. And the next part of this, you can also do the ramp. So you can switch between these three steps. You can go between card, fill, ramps, or vice versa, depending on what operation you're going to do. So I'm going to insert a ramp here using the ramp width that I have defined, the cut angle, and also the fill angle that I have. So I'm going to do these steps, all of them, I'm going to do all of them at one go. So let's just switch off the topo. We go to these steps, all of them. We select our ramp line. So this is our center line for our ramp. It's going to show you all the contours, and it's updating everything. So now it's generating where our ramp is going to be. So you can clearly see this is where our ramp is going to be, and it's generating all the contours so it can be able to create a proper mesh or surfaces for us. And we can see now it's telling us the card volume, the soil volume, the fill volume. So how much material do we need to fill this up to create this ramp? And once you're satisfied with this, you can go to commit to blend, and it's going to create that updated DTM for you. So it's quite easy to use, and it's based on the boundaries of polygons or lines that you have created on your own. So that is done. It's showing you this is our road, and we're going to access this in-pit dump here. This is where we're going to go to our backfilling, dump all the material. So I can build this field for us. Go to the next part. I can go for field. You do all the steps at one go. Pick that up, and then it's running that for us. So you can use elevations, or you can choose an option not to drape. You can drape to a certain surface so it follows that surface. So that is actually up to you on how you go and do about that. So mesh this. Okay, it's doing this for us, and it's still running. So it's done creating those contours, saying this is where I'm gonna have my fill. I can compute the fill volume to find out how much of the volume it's here. So you can see this is how much of the volume we need to fill this up, and we can commit that to blend. Okay, so it's gonna generate an updated topography, And once it's done, we'll be able to see that topography. So we can switch off so you can see that's where the topography is, and I can show it to you. This is the topography of what it has done. So you can clearly see here, you have your cut that you have done, you have removed that waste, you created the ramp, you're going to access this part, then you come and dump it there. So the beauty of this, it's able to create all this and save your report. So you have an audit log of the task that you have done. You can come and add the comments here and say, this was created by back. And so you're able to add those comments of all the processes that you have done. You can be able to add different comments. You can see your fill volume, your soil volume. You can see your total tonnages that you have and how much of the card volume you wish to have. And you are able to save this as a CSV or as an Excel file. So you can save these files and they'll be saved, or it's going to create a simple Excel file for you, which you can be able to open that Excel file. It will have all the information of that card that you have created. Okay, so once you have that card, the next thing will be to generate the mining blocks for that. And the whole idea for doing the mining blocks for that is to be able to use that information for our scheduling purposes. So I can go to this part and say create the mining blocks. And let's just get rid of this. Okay, yes, and get rid of that topography. So we're gonna be able to create this mining block in here, as you can see, based on this scenario. So it has created that big block for us. And what you can do with this block, you can actually go ahead and slice it into small mining block units that you want to have. So you can go and create those small mining blocks. So I can go and say, I want to have different cutters. For example, I want to cut it using these cutting lines. And to do that, you can define your cut angle. I'll say 90 degrees and say cut start. I'll select this one that I wish to cut. So it will automatically cut it for you, as you can see. So if I toggle this tooltip, okay, so let's do that. And okay, it's there. So that is the cut. So click cut end. So it's able to slice everything based on the cut that you have defined based on all these. So you can toggle till this tooltip it's off. So you can be able to see all these polygons that it has sliced through, and you have all these blocks for that one single bench that we talked about. So it's slicing it through. And the beauty for this cut start, so you can define an angle, say 80 degree, and it gives you that opportunity to say, you know what, you can be able to do the cuts interactively. So meaning you can be able to go ahead and use, okay, so this is the one that we have. So you can be able to adjust the lines as you do that. So you can move the lines up and down, and you're able to get the results that you are looking for. So once you're done with this, you can be able to calculate the reserves for this. But I'll show you the reserves when I show you for the multi-bench option. So the next part that you're going to do is to create another scenario for multiple bench, where we are going to have one strip. So we're going to have one strip that we want to slice through and say this is the one strip that we want to look at, and in different benches. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove that. Say yes. Okay. So I can create also another option for strips. So this is the other option for strips, for multiple strips that I have. So I can switch this off and bring this on. So I can use the same polygon that I have used, or a different polygon that I want to use. So I am going to use this one, click edit. Okay. So I can be able to cut all this one strip. Look at this one strip. I can define the multiple benches for that one strip. You have your topography, which we currently have, our topography that I'm going to load just to show you where our topography is. Okay, that's our topography. So the topography, that's our topography and that we currently have. And we said we just want to create the cut. in this region here. So that's the boundary polygon, and you can select the boundary polygon and you can define different benches. So in here, I've created bench specs that uses different surfaces. Can show you this. So I'm saying, you know what, my call is from the bottom, the mid B floor until the lift 3 topo and so forth. So you can have different surfaces here using your bench spec definition. Also, you can use a combination of elevation. So you can come and define your elevation if you want to use elevation. But in my case, I use different surfaces, so we can generate that. And we run this to create those blocks. So it will be able to generate the results for us. Let's go and switch off the topo. Okay. And see what we have. So it will create the benches. Okay. So it will create that big block, and then it will be able to create all these different benches, as you can see. So all of them, it has created them in all different benches. It has created all these blocks in that one single strips for multiple benches, and you can be able to see this. So I'll show you this now. Where it's intersecting our different intervals. So we know this is the top surface, or is the overbed then, the second overbed then to a bench 2, bench 3 until we access our call. And it does this also so perfectly that it follows through with your different angles that you have defined. So we create all these surfaces are like this. So if you have different angles, it will be able to follow through like that. And once you have all these benches, the next thing will be to go ahead and calculate the reserves. So when you calculate the reserves, just gonna close that. You just need to select the scenario that you're looking at. So strip 1 scenario, you select your geological model, and you can come and define if you want to have any different naming, you can define that. The intervals that I've defined, I have topsoil, truck and shovel, bench 1, and the coal. And when it runs, and you can add all the qualities that you want to see in your report. So when it runs this, you'll be able to see all these different intervals using all these different color coding, as I've showed you previously. So it was able to show us that with all these different color coding. So all the different color coding. So we know green is topsoil, truck and shovel, bench 1, and then coal. And we go and run this reserve report, and it will generate a reserve report for us. So we can go and say, we want to see that reserve report for strip 1. We click OK. The report already exists. Do I want to override it? So, yeah, you can override that. So you can be able to see the report that I created. For each and every block that I have, I'll be able to see the total tonnages, if it's coal or if it's overbed then. So it will use those different prefixes there, and it will tell you which block it is, what is the total volume. And if you scroll to the right, you can be able to see different qualities there. If any different qualities, you can see my RD and some of the blocks. So you can see all the RDs. So it generates this report for you. And this data, you can go ahead and use it for once you have prepared this data. And I'm going to save that. Okay. So once you have prepared this data, you can go ahead and build an updated DTM, taking out all these strips. So you can go to mining blocks to DTM. You select the scenario that you're looking at. You select your topography. And when you run this, it's going to create an updated topography for you. So I have an updated topography for my case. Let's see, is that, we can switch that off, Okay. So you can clearly see my updated topography following everything. So I'm just going to change, add the visual colors here so we can clearly see. Okay. Oops, sorry. Cancel that. Select this. Go to this height cube. So I'll have different colors. So just going to use terrain 1. Yep. Click OK. Okay. So it will apply all these different colors, and you can see this is that strip that I've created. It's showing us all different benches in different angles, so we can bring that strip back with all the color coding that we have defined. And this is all the solids that you have. So this data, you can go and use it for your scheduling, or you can export it and and go and generate the report. And when you click on all this data and you go to the interactive filter, you can see there's all this metadata written in each and every block. So if I click on one block here and I go to its property, I can be able to see all the qualities that it has. So select that. So you can see, I can see all the metadata. I can see which bench it is, what is the total tonnages, and if it's a resource or if it's overburden, what is the RD that was used, and the total volume. And you'll be able to see all the qualities. So all the information is going to tell you this material is coal, and you know, okay, this material is coal. So that's how you can quickly create a short-term blend, and you'll be able to generate the reserves, and you can create that one strip part of it. And then I will just go back to the presentation as we conclude. Summary of what we have done is we're able to generate short-term planning with the audit logs that we have seen, and also be able to get the reserve report. We're able to generate the single strip using different surfaces, and able to cut it through multiple benches, and we're able to run the reserves. And the final part was to build and update that topography, and then you're able to get that. So from us, we just want to say thank you. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach me at our email address or my contact details, or you can go straight to our website where you can be able to find the contact us form and be able to get to us. If you have any questions, or if you want to see more of our product, you're more than welcome to do that. So thank you for joining us today.